This is Authenticated, the Diecast Collectors podcast from Lionel Racing. Welcome back to Authenticated, the Diecast Collectors podcast from Lionel Racing, episode 21, coming to you live, sort of, and in person, from our Concord, North Carolina studios / headquarters. Happy to be back on the airwaves with you again after about 2 weeks since the last episode, where we gave you some teasers on some NASCAR Authentics stuff that came to fruition. We showed off Wave 2 and had a nice little contest that we'll touch back on later and give some diecast away to some lucky social media followers in response to that NASCAR Authentics giveaway last week. Plus, for all you NASCAR Authentics fans, yes, we do have some big news coming to you later on in the show. And I know everybody's going to just fast forward and try to find it and then think that they're heroes because they're going to go on social media and say, hey, I found it so you don't have to listen to the show. Well, guess what? That's kind of lame for you to do. But hey, this is 2022 and people do crazy things on the internet. So that's just how people roll these days. But it's all in good fun, and hopefully you folks on listening to the show today enjoy the talk, the chat, the banter, and we're going to try to cause some fights today. Maybe throw some things at one another. That's kind of the goal that I'm hoping for today's show. So if we can all leave throwing chairs at one another, I think we will have accomplished our goal. So if for no other reason you want to fast forward to hear that, well, maybe stick around because we might be slapping each other. You might do the tortilla challenge or something like that and just start slapping each other. We won't do video or anything. We'll just start slapping each other with tortilla shells. So on that note.
How about slapping each other with diecast?
Ooh, that'll leave a mark.
Jaws.
There you go.
I'm not saying we could throw 64s at each other.
That'd be fun.
I mean,
have
you not done that before?
You can dodge a 64 scale. You can dodge a
Right. If you can dodge a diecast, you can dodge a wrench. But hey, you folks that tune in, you listen to us because you want to hear news, you want to hear about diecast, but you also hopefully enjoy what we talk to. And we're starting to get like private messages and private tweets to our our personal accounts, asking us questions about diecast, which is awesome. You know what I mean? We enjoy interacting with the fans, and because that's what we're here to do. We're here to entertain and inform you, the diecast collectors. So on that note, we're going to introduce ourselves here. Of course, Matt Kenfield here from Lionel Racing, and joining us, we've got three, quad hosts? With me, that's quad hosts, I guess we can call it.
That sounds about right.
Instead of co-hosts and tri-hosts. Yeah. I don't even.
Tripods.
Yeah, I don't know.
Triangle.
Hey!
Where are we headed this weekend?
What turn 4?
I see what you did there.
Thank you.
But, the way we're situated in the room, it's more of a rhombus than any other shape.
We're bringing it back.
Yeah.
Geometry.
Yeah. Carlene Marginian joining us on the show as well. And how'd you like that race in New Hampshire this past weekend?
I loved it. There was so much going on and so much to talk about on Twitter. Everyone was fighting within the fight, which was the most entertaining thing.
Was everybody kung fu fighting, Thomas Du Bois? That's what, we said that we're going to cause fights here today. We might as well just keep that narrative going from New Hampshire, right? Everybody get mad at one another.
I mean, people just kept. Look, I don't even know what happened with Brad and Austin. I mean, that was later on in the race when that was going on.
I'm here for it, though.
It was good racing, but hey, I like it.
Brad and Austin don't know what's happening with Brad and Austin.
Wrecking and racing, it goes together.
Yes.
You don't do it, you're not trying.
Let's circle back on that later on. And Alex Pullman, I know you're too nice. You don't like the fighting and everybody getting mad. You're super soft and sweet.
You don't know me very well, then.
That was my sarcasm font, if you couldn't tell.
Oh, I could tell. Don't you worry about that.
But it was a lot of fun in New Hampshire. A lot of cool stuff going on the racetrack. Certainly some silly season news came to light just ahead of the New Hampshire race, and we will touch on all that, as well as give you that NASCAR Authentics news later on in the show. First, though, we'll recap everything that happened in the Granite State up next on Authenticated. New Hampshire Motor Speedway is my home track. I'm from about 2 hours from there, so that track and that race always means a lot. I was actually at the very first Cup Series race at New Hampshire. Then it was New Hampshire International Speedway before SMI bought it, I don't know, maybe 8-10 years ago. All I remember, that's the one and only Cup race that I've ever sat in the grandstands for.
Really?
Now, I've been I've worked in the racing industry for 25 years, and I've seen one cup race from the grandstands. I've seen probably 400 from the pits or, somewhere around the racetrack. Just never sat in the grandstands just to be a fan, except for the very first race in New Hampshire International Speedway, because it was about 4 million freaking degrees. And, I was, 9, 10, and everybody around me was drunk and sweaty.
Sounds all
and
right.
fat. And
I mean, that sounds like a typical NASCAR race.
well, but when you're 9 or 10 years old, like, it's not as, when you're not fat, sweaty, and drunk like everybody else is, it's not that good of a time, right? But when you are fat, sweaty, and drunk, it's a blast.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me, as a fat, sweaty, drunk guy, I can feel that energy. But when you're 9 or 10 years old, it's not really kind of where you need to be with your life. But notwithstanding, it was New Hampshire has always been an important part of my racing growing up, because that was like the super speedway back home, right? Like, that was where you went to go see the cups, the heroes. I remember getting Ernie Irvin's autograph at the Pizzeria Uno in Concord, New Hampshire. And so New Hampshire always holds a special place in my heart. And now it's going to, I think it has already held a special part in the heart of Christopher Bell. I actually got that right.
That was
impressive. That was impressive.
And I didn't drop a fart in there or something. I was waiting on it. But Christopher Bell showed that New Hampshire Motor Speedway and he really get along really well, because he won 3 straight Xfinity Series races, finished second in the Cup race there last year, and got the job done on Sunday afternoon. And I don't know. I don't think any of us saw Christopher Bell go into victory lane, but we probably should have, looking at the stats, right?
Yeah. I mean, no one picked him in our little pool that we do, which is surprising because there's quite a few of us in there. And exactly like you said, looking back at how well he's done over and over and over again, you look at him like, oh, the upset, but he wasn't. He just wasn't Truex there for the first 2 stages.
Well, even on the Lionel Racing forum, we had a lot of people pick him. Mm-hmm. And I guess, and our thought, and looking at what I should have done, I should have listened to our people on our forum and maybe saying, why is everybody picking Bell, and looked into it a little bit more. But I mean, he just hasn't had the crew this year. It seemed like they've lost spots on pit road, and I don't know, they just haven't been as fast. Well, they've been fast. They just have been losing spots on pit road and stuff. So I just didn't think they would be the one to beat there. Like, I didn't see it this time.
Yeah.
But a lot of people on our forum did.
No, and I mean, he lost his tire last week. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you just have to always count him in, you know what I mean?
Does he still have Bubba's crew?
Because
he did last week.
I think he did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was, Christopher Bell is a low-key talented racer, right? Mm-hmm. Like, anybody who watched him in the dirt and, the midgets and sprint cars and stuff knew that he was going places, right? To use the TRD pun of Toyota pun, going places. He was.
Nice.
But even in the Cup Series, his results, he won that Daytona road course race last year. But his results, he's kind of like a quietly consistent, 8th to 15th place driver most weeks, right? Mm-hmm. The other JGR drivers are almost always in contention for the win. And looking at the way that the race went up until he took the lead with about 40 laps to go or so for the final time, it looked like it was certainly going to be a JGR day, right? Because Kyle Busch was up front, Truex was up front. Denny was probably the worst of the 4 cars, but he was still up there for
Hamlin
a
was
lot.
fighting in the back.
Right. Yeah, he had his own issues going on through the course of the day. But it was interesting to me that Christopher Bell, of those other, JGR cars that were up front, is the one that won. Because it seems like it happens almost every week, especially with the 18 Kyle Busch. He'll win a stage or 2 and then fade towards the end. Truex, again, up front, made a bad, in hindsight, a bad strategic move with a 2-tire stop and, just kind of catapulted his way back towards the field. And so I don't know. It seems like those JGR cars, not Bell this week, seems to just not have the strength at the end of the race. And I don't know why. I don't know if anybody else has any ideas what that could be, if there's, why we haven't seen the 18 and the 19 go to victory lane as many times as we thought we had, especially when they've had pretty strong cars a lot this season.
Well, that's why I didn't pick anybody in a Toyota at New Hampshire, because Toyotas have been somewhat on the struggle bus this year. I mean, yes, Hamlin has won 2 races, and the 18 and the 19 have been consistent, but going into New Hampshire, they haven't, they might have had great averages on the previous car, but with the new car, it's not like they used to be. It's the Chevys are really dominating. So seeing Christopher Bell go to victory lane, is kind of a surprise.
It again is a surprise, but probably shouldn't have been. But what I was surprised with is that we continue to have new winners. Like we talked about, we didn't expect Christopher Bell to, put his name into that hat with just a couple of races to go before the playoff cutoff. But now we've got 14 new winners. 16 spots fill up the playoff roster. Mm-hmm. Are we going to get to 16?
I hope so.
I think we are.
Yeah,
we're on that track.
There's some big names that haven't won yet this year.
Oh, yeah. The fact that Truex doesn't have a win yet surprises me. And then, Blaney, too, had, 3 wins last year? And then his only win this year doesn't really count.
And he won it twice.
And he won it twice. I mean, you get $1 million, that's great. But you're not in the playoffs.
You don't get points for it.
Exactly.
Not sure if those Fords are going to do it, though. I don't know. Fords are struggling right now. I hope the Ford teams aren't listening, but maybe it'll jazz them up. But they're looking rough. I mean, there's no speed. They're not up front. I mean, Blaney was up front a couple of times. Mm-hmm. He's probably been the fastest besides Logano in his win. But other than that, I mean, those guys, they're all struggling. I mean, yeah, you had Briscoe win at Phoenix too, but still, the Fords have just been slow. I don't know. They're just not up there consistently.
Well,
it's different.
Harvick's right outside the top 16 as well.
And
so
I picked him this past week. I thought it was, his track, right? And he did. He finished 5th, right behind Truex. Yeah, unfortunately.
Thank you.
We spoke with a one of the Ford teams. That's all I'll say is it is one of the Ford teams, and the representative that I spoke to basically said that, especially on the 1.5 and 2 mile tracks, where the Toyotas and the Chevrolets are so much better is that they've got a wider box where they can be close. The close box is wider. So if they're within a certain range, they can be fast. That box is narrower for the Fords. There's an aerodynamic thing going on with the Fords that the Toyotas and the Chevrolets have a wider box to go in when it comes to setup. So you can be a little bit off and still be fast. Whereas the Fords have to be a little bit more perfect to be fast. So it's crazy that here we are almost 3/4, more than halfway through the season, 2/3 of the way, let's say, through the season, and the Fords have been struggling. And like you said, there are races where they seem to do well, and it seems to be the short tracks, the road courses, and the super speedway tracks. But I don't know. You mentioned Harvick. Is he the guy? And look at last year when Almirola won. There could be one of those kind of outlier guys that you didn't see on your radar going to victory lane. That could sneak their way up there. And of course, those guys, like we even talked about when we were coming up with Thomas and I were talking about when we came up with some of the marketing materials about Christopher Bell's race win diecast. Originally we were saying he locked himself into the playoffs. Well, he technically didn't. Because if there ends up being 16 or 17 winners and he's the low man on the totem pole in points, he ain't gonna make the playoffs. Right. So this could be the very first time, and we've thought about this scenario in the past. This is the closest we've ever been. Mm-hmm. Do we want to see that happen? Do we want to see 16 drivers, maybe even 17 drivers?
Absolutely.
I want to see that just because it'll just up the ante. And especially Daytona's the cutoff race, right? So
yes,
as chaotic as Daytona already is, it just makes it even more on the line. Right. That you have to lay it out.
Well, it makes winning not just important, because winning got to the point where winning was now. You had guys who were 25th in points and win a race.
Right.
And a lot going to the championship, or whatever. So I think it makes it more valid that consistency is also important. And you win, which is great. But you also still got to be consistent week in and week out. You just can't be a guy who's 20th every week and then you I don't want to say luck into a win, but you get a win. And now you're in the playoffs and then you're the first one out in the next round of playoffs for the most part, just because you're going to probably finish 20th or so. But I think it adds validity to this point system that everybody's been squawking at. So I like the amount of winners. I hope it continues on year after year.
And I think with the how the points are and how consistent some of your top 5 are, you're already locking yourself in. So those spots are slowly, it's not, you don't have 16 spots. You have like 10 or so because people start to lock themselves in on points.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's really scary. I mean, like they're talking about Harvick and just him even finishing 5th. He took a huge points hit this week just because another person shoved him out.
Right.
Yep.
And it's like, he was like, I forgot how many points above the cut line. And now he's like 44 points out of the cut line or something like that. But they were talking about.
He was battling Bell for that last spot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think to that point, it's going to make it interesting because when we get to Daytona, you know, I'm thinking like Daytona 500 last year with Michael McDowell winning. You know, should a guy like Michael McDowell win Daytona in August, he's going to need to really step his game up over these last few races leading up to that because he's going to need every point possible to maybe leapfrog a guy like Christopher Bell or something like that. So should whoever win Daytona, you know, at that super speedway race, needs to be high enough in points to bump out somebody else who might have one win, if that makes sense.
Well, and it's just like they said on the broadcast last week with LaJoy, even if he would have won that race, he wasn't in the top 30 in points. So he would have had to be in the top 30 to even qualify for the top 16.
Right. And that took a big, you know, he didn't win that race in Atlanta, but he took a big hit this past weekend with a big crash too.
Right.
So, you know, you're really going to have to, that's what racing is though. You have to take risks. You have to try to get every spot possible, but those with risk or with those rewards come the risks of wrecking your stuff.
Yeah. Well, another thing for LaJoy too, that's not even about being in the playoffs.
Right.
It's about a win.
Right.
Like at that point, if I'm 30th in points or whatever, I'm wrecking you for a win. Like if, well, I don't want to get off the subject, but if it were me, Elliott moved up, I would have punted him out of my way.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, either way, like both of them were at fault. I mean, both of them did their job, or he didn't. He should have wrecked him. And that's what I think he says afterwards.
He was too nice.
He was too nice. I would have punted him.
And something we'll touch on in just a second is, you know, there's a lot of rides opening up already. Silly season has already begun between 2023 and 2024. So, you know, all of these guys that might want to up their ride situation for the next couple of years are on display right now. You've got to perform if you want one of these teams with big name or, you know, with big cars, you know, well-performing cars. If you want those teams to sign you, you got to show some results. So a guy like Orly Joyce probably on tryout mode right now. So
well, especially when you have people like Ty Gibbs who will probably move up in the next couple of years as well.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. There's a bunch of young up and coming drivers looking for places, and we know where Ty Gibbs is going to go, obviously. But who does that push out? And there's certainly a lot of things to come there. So I can't let New Hampshire go without talking about that lobster that they hand out in Victory Lane. I mean, it's a great tradition. Nothing says New England more than a 20-pound lobster in Victory Lane at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And do we like live animals in Victory Lane? I mean, is that something that we'd like to see continue or what?
Looking at me.
Yeah.
No, I did
You're
research.
from Michigan. You're all into like cows and goats and stuff like that up there, aren't you?
Yeah, that's where I'm from. Yeah.
She's from the country in
I
Michigan.
know how to ride a horse. Just kidding. No, okay, so I looked this up, and lobsters have feelings, okay? And so now I feel so bad. I love lobster.
Well, of course,
I love
they scream
seafood.
when you put them in the heat.
No, they don't. It's a lie.
No, it's a whistle.
It's the whistle from the steam coming through the shell.
Oh, okay.
I'm telling you, I'm not like a PETA person, but I read that they have like intensive, you know, like what was the thing I said earlier today?
Nerve. It was like a nerve system.
Nerve system. And
Yeah.
so they like feel stress and whatever. And so I would be so stressed if
Did you
someone was
Google
just.
this?
I did. If someone was just.
So you believe it?
No, but I
Google
do feel
doesn't
bad.
lie.
Like
That's
if
right.
you're just being like dragged around by your little claws, like Brad holding him up during the little like counter talk. I just like feel bad.
Carlene is that fired up about the poor lobster
Carlene
that
is
she's
in her
right.
feels for the feels of the lobster.
I do feel bad. If it were like, hey, here's like a certificate for a 20-pound lobster, like that's cool. But to have the actual thing there, just like, it's kind of sad.
Yeah, I too have a nervous system called hungriest tastiest, and lobsters are where it's at. You know, God bless you. So I am all for, you know, if Christopher Bell needs a buddy to help him crack into those things, man, I will bring my little, you know,
Shell
shuckers
cracker.
or whatever they are. Yeah, I'll be right over and I'll I'll gladly. And I love just tweet after the race. Anybody have some, butter sauce or something like that? That was good because there's nothing better than some drawn butter and some fresh lobster.
That also started like a whole tweet thread about things people needed.
Oh yeah, yep. And I
did
did see on social media too that people were resurrecting Christopher Bell when he won with KBM in the Rattler 250 at South Alabama Speedway, probably 6-7 years ago now. The winner of that race, because there's all kinds of rattlesnakes around South Alabama Speedway in Opp, Alabama. If you've never been to Opp, Alabama, I'm not sure you really want to.
Opt out.
Yeah. But it's a great little racetrack. There's just don't go there for the experience because there's not a whole lot to do around that area.
And you hear banjos.
Yeah, but when you win that race, they have a handler that puts an actual live rattlesnake around your shoulders.
Oh, hell no.
Oh, and it's not like a little baby rattlesnake, like a little glorified garden snake. No, this sucker is like 8 feet long, and the guy that puts it around your neck kind of looks like a carny. Like you're not really sure if this guy really knows what he's doing. He's probably been bitten by these things a couple of times, and but hey, it makes for a great photo. And if you haven't seen it, check social media, maybe do a little Google photo research. But when Christopher Bell won the Rattler 250 a handful of years ago, when they brought that rattlesnake out, dude was just about in tears. Like I've never seen a man's mouth drop as far as his did in Victory Lane just when he saw that snake. And
I mean, I would too. I mean, snakes and especially rattlesnakes.
I would not want to win just because
No,
of that.
I would wreck on purpose.
Hit the brakes, hit the checker flag.
Exactly.
Like,
Someone else go.
You're your worst enemy. Go.
there have been many people, in my short track days covering that race that have said that, like, I want to win, but I'm not sure how I would handle that. And I don't blame them. I mean, I would probably do it because snakes don't bother. I don't care for them. I don't like them. I don't care if they have feelings when, you know what I mean? I don't care if they're like lobsters, but I don't. Look, I won the race. That if that's what it takes, then that's what I'll do. But I can understand people who wouldn't.
Yeah, absolutely not.
That's a no for me.
Yeah, I get it. But so we've got just a handful of races left before we finish out the regular season, before we get to after Daytona in mid-August. So who are some of the drivers that are kind of showing some strength when it really matters, getting ready for that stretch run for the playoffs and all that stuff? Who are some of the drivers that we think are flexing the most muscle right now?
Ross Chastain.
I second that.
Okay.
Chase.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Chase.
Larson.
Is Larson, though?
Larson has, late in the past couple of weeks, he hadn't had such a great time, but I mean, he's usually pretty consistent, and when he needs to get something done, he typically
on my
can.
Who's not list.
Yeah, after
He's on
last
my who's not
season,
list. Yeah,
he does not look
I feel
good
like he's
this year.
fallen off compared to what he normally does.
Right.
Well, and unfortunately Hamlin too, but
Yeah, Hamlin's doing well.
And I don't know, because we always toss this idea around, and I don't know how realistic it is, but when you look at HMS, you got Larson, Bowman, and Byron have all won races, and they're struggling compared to what Chase is doing. And that's happened in years past. Chase has been like the kingpin at HMS, and the other three kind of aren't as fast. And at the beginning of the season, it was the opposite way. Chase was the one that was struggling. The other ones were winning all these races. So now I almost wonder if like the 9 still doing their thing, and the 5 and the 48 and the 24 are kind of in just survival mode, I guess, until the playoffs. Like, I don't know, and I don't even know if that's the right strategy, if that is a strategy, or if they are just missing it a little bit.
Well, Byron had like that little stretch of wins around Martinsville where
Right.
he was like looking pretty good and has kind of died out. But if anyone is not hot at HMS, it's Bowman.
Right.
yeah, he's had a couple rough weeks.
Yeah, and like just like last weekend, when you qualify poorly, you're in the back with the people who also usually qualify poorly. Like, you're not setting yourself up for success.
Yep, and he took a hit this weekend too.
Right. And he's one of those guys that he's not locked into the playoffs, but he's in a comfortable spot to be in the playoffs and all that stuff. So, it's tough, but I'm impressed, I guess, to say that like a guy like Truex had a good run at New Hampshire. So I'm going to put him in my hot list, because even though he has not performed the way that 19 team normally performs through the first 20 races of the season, whatever it is, but he's showing some strength now, and now that he's put that there's still those rumors of how much longer is he going to continue to do this and all that stuff. But he knows that he's doing this for at least a little while longer. So now that he's got that kind of behind him, I wonder if now he can focus and the media can leave him alone and stuff like that, and he can just focus on the job at hand. So he's my guy. And you mentioned Chastain. Are we on board with this whole NBC narrative of this guy being so super aggressive and they have to bring it out every single time they talk to him?
I'm gonna jump on my soapbox for a minute about this.
Defend your boy Ross Chastain.
Yes, I am on the Chastain train. Thank you.
Oh.
Hey. Okay, that sounded really bad. I think they're pushing it a little too much. Yes, Ross is being aggressive and, he's not making any friends, but you gotta think, Kyle Busch and Tony Stewart and all these guys were also the same way, and they were known as the villains, but NBC needs that narrative to kind of push, like, let's see if Hamlin will pay him back this week or whoever. I just think it needs to back her down a little bit, because to be honest, and I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, Chase does something, he does no wrong. Ross does something, he's public enemy number one. Not, in my opinion, that's just not how it should be.
Well, it's, how often it happens, I think, is kind of the issue. If it happens every once in a while, then yeah, it's just hard aggressive racing. But it's been almost just about every week with Ross that he's been, involved in something. But here's where, I think NBC does a great job with the broadcast. If, they both do a great job. But if I was to choose which broadcast team I'd rather listen to, I think I'd rather listen to NBC because I feel like I'm talked to on a higher level than I am when I listen to the Fox broadcast. I think Fox is for the new fans. NBC is a little bit more for the seasoned fans. How that being said, a guy like Jeff Burton, he seems to have something for Ross. Like, he's not a big fan. That's just how it's coming to me. Maybe that's not the case, but it almost seems like he's got something against Ross in the way that he races. And it's a polar opposite from the way that Jeff raced. Jeff was a clean guy, never, maybe had one or two incidents. I think he had one with Jeff Gordon that one time, but that's about the only time anybody ever saw him get fired up at the racetrack. And, Jeff never won a championship. His son Harrison's out there not performing as well as anybody thought that 21 car could or should be running. So when you see a guy that's new to the Cup, I know Ross has been around for a little while, but at least, for the first time in a solid, consistently running up front car, which is what Harrison's doing as well. And you see one guy racing for the lead and you got your son back there kind of on the same plane, running 20th. And I can see that kind of animosity there. And maybe that's not the case, but that's how it comes across to me. When I listen to Jeff talk is, Jeff's a great driver, won plenty of races, Hall of Fame, all that. But I think because it's different than the way he did it.
There's two different narratives there too, where, I have listened to the Burton Continuum where, it talks about the stuff between Ward and Jeff and how they work their way up. But when it comes to Harrison, I'm not going to say he was handed his ride, but he didn't have to work for it as hard as someone like Ross Chastain, who would pretty much jump into anything to get an opportunity. So like you said, yeah, it might not be the way he raced, so he has it out for Ross, but you also have to show Ross some respect because he has gone from F equipment to pretty much the cream of the crop now.
Right.
And so
well, you also got to give Harrison a little slack at he's racing a Ford. And we've seen how the Fords are struggling.
That's correct.
And,
that's fair.
And Ross Chastain's been thrown into a Chevy where Chevys have been dominant all year. I mean, when you got Daniel Suarez running in the top and stuff when he hasn't been running in the top, it shows something to this Chevy power that's happening on this new body. The Fords are just lacking. I'm only saying that in a little bit of a defense of Harrison because I feel like the Fords have been slow.
That's fair.
I don't think he's doing anything wrong,
right?
Per se, maybe not pushing the envelope, but that team one is not a bigger team,
right?
But still, they're just struggling in general. I think with whatever's happening with the Fords, and that's not putting a slander on a Ford or anybody. It's just something's happening there. While Chevys have got the power, you got Corey LaJoie in a Chevy running for a win at Atlanta. Again, nothing against Corey, but rarely up front running for a win.
Right.
Chevy running up front for a win. But I don't know. That's how I feel about it. I feel like the Chevy, you got some power, and you see it with Suarez and Chastain being dominant, and Allmendinger doing pretty good, and some of these guys who normally don't have a lot of backing. That's why I like the new car model. I love watching these guys up front. And I hope we see more of it. But once Ford gets it figured out, I think like I said, I think in general Ford's got something amiss. I'm not sure what it is, but they're definitely missing something.
Well, and on the super speedway package for the Fords, obviously because it's a kind of a free for all, you do see them run technically up front, but that's about as good as they get. I mean,
right.
Yeah. But no, I feel like NBC, it's all about the narrative of the news though too, right? I mean,
right.
It is. It's all about the media, like, oh, it causes controversy. And honestly, here we are talking about it. And that's every time I go on any NASCAR channel, everybody's talking about Ross or Denny paying him back. And the opinions are crazy on both sides. It's almost a 50-50 split. I mean, even I'm always torn because I'm always like, I'll break my mama for my first win. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But what he's doing is, maybe bump it. I don't think he's doing it aggressively on purpose. I think he's just making bonehead. I don't want to do. I call it bonehead mistakes. Well, he's going into a corner and he's making a mistake. But they've all done it. I mean, I saw Denny hit someone this weekend on a mistake, going to the corner too hard and push somebody up in the wall a little bit. But I don't think it was out of frustration. I think we kind of caught that for who he hit, but
right. Well, it goes back to that, a guy like Ross, like Alex just mentioned, having to kind of scratch and claw his way to get to where he is right now. And I go back to that thing that when Ryan Preece was here with us maybe a month or two ago, he said, I race to make money to put food on my table. Like he's not a billionaire or anything like that. You know what I mean? Ross is kind of one of those guys now that still has that mentality where the better he finishes, the more money he makes, the more comfortably, the more bills he can pay. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whereas a lot of these guys don't take those chances because they've got like your boy Ricky Stenhouse selling his $16 million house in Mooresville right now. The guy has 2 Cup wins and 2 Xfinity Series championships, but that affords you a $16 million, horse ranch in Mooresville.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's nothing against Ricky. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying. Guys get pretty comfortable the more money they make. Well, so they don't need to take those chances anymore.
It comes back to the conversation we were having before we went on, right? I was saying these guys used to work for this stuff.
Right.
Now, I mean, when you sign a multi-million-dollar contract for a team just to race, when back in the day, Dale Sr. was racing and wrecking people because that's how he got paid on the weekend.
Yeah.
He fixed his car. He wrecked his car. He would take you out for the win. Like, again, but that's why I agree with I'll take you out for the win if I need to. I'll block you. Like I would if I were Corey, I'd have wrecked him. If I were Chase, I would have wrecked him if he would have run around me.
Yep.
Either whoever was in that position, I'm going to wreck you for the win.
Right.
But I'm not going to wreck you for 7th place in the middle of the race. Like I'm not going to bump you. That's where you kind of becomes a bonehead. But those other, but come to the end of the race, I might wreck you for 5th if it pays more.
Right.
Well, and to the point, sorry, going back to Ross, where you're saying about Ryan Preece putting food on the table. A lot of these guys make money and they'll do sponsor appearances and all that crap on, during the week. Ross goes and still works on his family's watermelon farm. Right. He doesn't have a coach he takes to the track because he said that during an interview. I believe it was during the rain delay in Nashville. But so he's not one of these guys who's got a multi-million-dollar motor home, whatever, and he's just a dude who
But a lot of them own their own companies then too. Like you've got Truex Management and Brad Keselowski owns some
a machine
manufacturing
shop.
company.
And Harvick has their KHI.
Management group. These top drivers have so many other sources of income as well that it's almost like I'm just here because it's fun now.
Right. Well, they're all going to, they're all making plenty of money and, they've probably got enough, but you get accustomed to living a certain way. Mm-hmm. And after you're done driving and that money might not come in, you might still make money, just not what you had been making, especially when you had 2 sources of income at the time. You look at a guy like Jeff Gordon, one of the best drivers, I'd say top 5 drivers of NASCAR history. Still had to work at Fox for a little while and still works, even when he was off of Fox now, he's at HMS and kind of setting himself up there into the team ownership role. So very rarely can you see a guy just step away and live comfortably, because guys retire from the Cup Series in their 40s, you know what I mean? They still got 30, 40, 50 years of their life left to live. And, the few $1 million you got in the bank might not last that long, especially when you got $16 million houses and jets and, whatever else you might have.
Lake.
Right. So you've got to set yourself up in a certain way. And there's no wrong way to do it. I'm just saying, the best way to make sure that you can live the life you want to live is to win races. And the only way you're going to win races sometimes is to take chances and piss some people off.
Checkers or wreckers.
That's right.
It's all in good fun.
We should make some diecast called that.
Yeah, I wonder.
That'd be a really great
I think
series.
that'd be awesome.
Get on that, Alex.
Got it. Noted.
All right, so we need to also touch on the big news of the week before New Hampshire is Tyler Reddick leaving Richard Childress Racing at the end of the 2023 season. So, yeah, still a year and a half away. Moving to 2311 Racing in 2024. Anybody see that one on their radar?
Not on my
Absolutely
bingo
not.
card.
Nope. So, what do we think of that? The way they announced it a year and a half in advance when a guy, Reddick's already won a race this season, going to race for a championship, but a team that's probably, judging by their tweets right after the announcement, not too pleased with that little dude.
No. And of course they did it in Denny Hamlin fashion. Sorry, not a huge Hamlin fan. I just think that it was really bad timing. I do agree with RCR, and the fact that Hamlin actually came out this past weekend and said, well, I hope RCR honors his contract. I hate to see someone sidelined for a year. And I'm like, oh, so you couldn't wait until mid of next year to announce it? Because now you almost cost him something.
That was pretty ballsy of Denny to come out and say that, because after pissing RC off, Richard Childress is not the guy you want to piss off. Like, he's old school, that old hold my ring thing or hold my watch, whatever it was. Yeah. He's not afraid to tell you how he really feels. But that's tough timing. It's gonna make some awkward times in the shop too, I gotta figure.
Especially right after a win. Yeah. Your first win.
Right.
And Tyler's so non-confrontational.
Right.
After the Bristol Dirt Race with Chase Briscoe, he's just not that personality. This dang mic. He's just not that personality, and Denny very much is. So I thought that in itself was very interesting. That's the team you go to. I don't know.
Denny's a drama queen.
I feel like they just wanted to control the narrative. I feel like they didn't want it to get out there. They want to control it, which I didn't disagree.
Well,
I actually thought it was a bold.
It was an awkward way to do it, though. It was like, Tyler, why are you on this call?
Yeah, on a Zoom
he's
call.
supposed to be.
Well,
It
and
was kind of cool. Personally, I was like, look at that. It's hilarious. The way they did it, I thought was neat. But they kind of controlled the narrative. Like I said, they spun the media.
right.
Which I thought was kind of clever, because they always, like I said, the media always does their thing. Like, they're making Ross Chastain to be the person, just like they do with Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch is horrible, but it's all because it sells the tickets and it's the drama and it's what the sport needs. Well, they controlled the narrative of ooh, who's going here, because now the media is going on the frenzy of who's going to fill that ride, but they couldn't say what's going to happen to Reddick for a year.
Right.
During all of 2023, that's what it would have been happening. Is Reddick going to resign? Reddick going to resign? Who's going to the shoes? Where is he going? They controlled that. They controlled the narrative, and they came out early before any rumor got out there. Because if he would have signed today, that's what we're saying on the TV, I think, if he would have signed, someone would have leaked it that he signed anyway. So it would have been out there anyway. So the way they did it, I thought was kind of clever, but I know it's not good timing, but
it also opens the door to the rumors that Kurt Busch will be retiring, because he said
he
only
for sure is.
he wanted
That's my guess.
to stay in it 2 years because he
said
helped
2
design the
years.
car or something. So now that they know Reddick's going there in 24, then it's like, oh, well, I guess that's Kurt's cue.
Yeah, you almost have to figure now. It sounds like, from all reports that I've heard from some pretty close-knit ties to the situation, that there wasn't a whole lot of warning that Tyler Reddick gave RCR before he went and made that announcement. It wasn't like this has been in the works for a long time.
Oh, that's clear from the post from
Right.
RCR.
This couldn't have been worse timing.
Right. But where I think hopefully there was some advance warning within the 2311 shop to know what the long-term game plan is for their teams. Because you got a guy like Bubba Wallace, who had a great run in New Hampshire, probably his best start-to-finish run that he's had in the Cup Series on a non-super speedway track, with a great finish in New Hampshire. But he has underperformed this season. Mm-hmm. The 45 Kurt Busch has a win this season, been consistently better than the 23 car has this year. So you introduce a guy like Tyler Reddick, who is, about the same. I think he's about the same age as Bubba, right? Pretty close, at least within a couple of years, probably. coming into the fold, now is Bubba racing to, hold his spot? Is Kurt retiring, or is Kurt going to stay for 2024 and beyond, and they're going to start a third team? So hopefully there's been some talk within that group to not cause some infighting of like, oh my God, what does my future hold? Now, as we've talked about in this sport, everybody's coming for everybody's job. You know what I mean? Nobody's job is necessarily safe. I think other than, unless you're at Hendrick Motorsports or Joe Gibbs Racing, I don't know if I could say that, or, your family, your grandfather owns your team like Austin Dillon. I can't say that anybody's job is safe right now, right? Everybody is one sponsor away from leaving. Everybody's one, bad season away from leaving for whatever reason. So hopefully there was some at least talk in the 2311 shop of, what is our long-term game plan there? Because I can see a lot of drama coming from that too.
Right. Well, my question, again, going back to like Reddick specifically, in sponsorship, when you sell sponsorship, you do like what, 1 or 2 races, and if it goes well, then you sign them on for like multiple years. With it being known that Reddick's leaving, no one's going to like want to just be with RCR and sponsor for like a year. Like that's going to be RCR's issue, is can they get sponsors to be coming back on that car? And hopefully, I don't know if those sponsors that are currently on the 8 car are ones that have signed on because Tyler was the driver, or they just signed on with RCR and they happen to have open races on the 8 car. I don't know and probably won't know. So, but obviously RCR is going to want to keep those sponsors with them, and they don't want Tyler taking them to 2311 in 2024. So there's going to be some issues there, and it's going to be tough for, if I was Richard Childress, out of spite, I'd be like, you know what, dude, finish this year out, and the next year go find whatever Xfinity ride you can find until you go back to the Cup Series, whatever the situation is, because I don't want any part of it. But you need to have that 8 car out there competing for wins, because you need somebody to get into that car. You need sponsors to sign on to that car, because RCR will not succeed as a 1-car team. Nobody succeeds really as a 1-car team. So they need that second team. Whether they have somebody in mind, from their Xfinity lineup, with Austin Hill and Sheldon Creed, right? The race for RCR in the Xfinity Series, or someone else. I've heard anything from Noah Gregson to Daniel Hemrick again. I've heard lots of...
because Colleagues got their satellite, their sister team of RCR.
Exactly.
I wish they would grab Priest. That's who I wish they'd grab.
Well, he's under Ford now.
Is he under Ford now?
Yeah, he's with like SHR. It's like a whole thing.
Oh,
currently, yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
I mean, like you said, it could always change. But
Right. For the right amount of money and the
because
right
he always did
opportunity.
good for JTG. I mean, he did decent. He would have good runs, and then
he
get
ran better
wrecked
than
or
Ricky.
something like that.
Yeah.
And he
would
was
get
only a
wrecked,
partial schedule.
So I mean, it would be great to see him get a good ride and
Yeah.
try again.
Can I just side note real quick that
opinion.
RCR and the Dillon boys did not have a good week this past week or the weekend?
No, that was not a banner week in Welcome, North Carolina for that family.
Not welcome.
But I was going to say, that's the other thing, is now Ty's without a ride next year.
Right.
And that's the other grandkid. Whether or not he wants to go there and use up his granddaddy stuff like Austin's doing, I mean, we'll see.
I don't think he'll
Even
go.
not using it.
I don't
Yeah.
think he'll go.
Yeah.
Well, he did really well in the Xfinity race, so there's that.
Right.
Go race for Big Machine.
Yeah,
Amen.
which is a RCR satellite team. They're right across the street.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Ty announcing that they've mutually parted with the Petty GMS team for 2023, that opens up another pretty good ride. The 42 has not performed well this year, but Eric Jones has. He has raced top 5 in a lot of races that we were not necessarily accustomed to seeing that 43 running as strong. And again, I think he's kind of having one of those, we talked about hot and not earlier in the show. I think Eric Jones has been very quietly hot this year. He's raced pretty well for that Petty GMS team. So what happens with that 42? Like I said, those same guys that could be in line to run the 8 car could be in line to run the 42. Thinking the Chevrolet camp, Noah Gregson's name's probably top on the list of potential drivers to race in a Chevrolet car, right? And then you've also heard rumblings that maybe there's going to be a JRM Cup team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who knows what's really going to happen here? So a lot of question marks still to come with silly season. I think this is just the beginning. I think we talked. Kyle Busch doesn't have anything. He made it very clear that he doesn't know what his plans are going to be moving forward, and it seems really strange to me to see the kind of juxtaposition how 2311 can come out and say, we've got Tyler Reddick for 2024. We'll figure out the sponsorship. We'll figure out what it all means down the road, but we want our guy. How come Coach Gibbs isn't doing that with Kyle Busch? Like, I get you need sponsorship to run to the level that you want to run. But wouldn't it be easier to say, okay, Kyle's under contract for another 2-3 years, whatever it might be. Let's go find him some sponsors. You know what I mean? Would you be willing to let him go because you didn't have sponsorship? Or would you rather just try to figure it out with him? My team would be, if it was me, my team would be better with Kyle Busch, whether I had a blank car or if I had, Microsoft on the side of it, just some Fortune 500 company on the side of it. Regardless, I want Kyle Busch driving my car.
Or just flex your wealth like Hendrick and put your own company on that car or
Yeah.
whatever.
Right.
Like,
There's consistency there.
yeah. And I mean, Penske kind of does the same thing. So just, show up and show out.
Yeah, a lot of Penske's deals are business to business stuff. You know what I mean? You look at Pertec and Dent Wizard and stuff like that. They're all things that kind of enhance what.
Trucking.
Yeah,
But he's the only guy probably at the JGR camp that is probably the most. I don't want to like polarizing,
volatile. Yeah,
and maybe not. You see what you see on TV. Everybody gets mad in a car, right? So I can't imagine. But you hear his explicit breakouts on the radio and stuff like that. And maybe Coach Gibbs is like, you know what? Like, I'm tired of it. And he's got Ty coming up. I don't know. I mean, I'm curious if he's kind of weighing options. I mean, he's a
but his
driver. And
grandson
I
is
don't
the
get me wrong,
new
I love
Kyle
Kyle
Busch.
right.
His grandson is literally Kyle Busch Jr.
It's pretty early to say that.
Oh,
but
no, it's
Pretty
not.
heated right now.
Nah, he's...
Yeah.
It's still early to say that. Kyle's had some pretty good tirades.
Oh,
but,
no, he has, but Ty Gibbs is working his way up.
Yeah, he is working his way out.
And do you see how quiet he is in interviews now? Like
Yeah.
he just repeats the same thing over and over again because I think he got a stern talking to.
Yeah.
Well,
And he didn't take his helmet off when he fought Sam Mayer, so I'm still bitter about that.
Thought
That's
that's
true.
quoted.
And Kyle he represented that Mars brand very well. You know what I mean? Well, let me put it this way. Even when he had his tirades and his outbursts and his crashes and his everything and cussing and, whatever else that happened, Mars never went anywhere. Right. You know what I mean? They still.
I'd pick Kyle Busch today. That was not a
That's what I'm
slam on
saying.
him. I know for Gibbs, it doesn't seem
So
to match.
for a family brand like Mars, like if you've got those M&M characters on the side of your car, and even if you got some hothead driving it, if Mars still will stick with him, you got to figure any other company could too, right?
Yeah.
Like anybody else can say, look, my car is winning races, and yeah, my driver's going to piss some people off. But the bottom line is my logo is on TV every single
Right.
week. So
Well, I went and saw that Rowdy movie, and that was the thing was Mars literally came in and told Kyle, we do not care how you act, just get us in victory lane.
right.
Well, and I mean, because of Mars being, like Matt said, a family brand, you see so many kids wearing the M&M's products. So that's why
Kyle
Kyle Busch has so many, younger fans, is because they identify with those M&M's
Right.
characters, and
He's a candy man.
yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then there's so many we see all the time. We see kids walking around with Kyle Busch Diecast in their hands.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily because they're Kyle Busch fans, but they love M&Ms. Who doesn't
Yeah.
love M&Ms?
And
you
the
know what I
cars
mean?
are so colorful.
Right.
Yes.
It's perfect.
Right. So it was a long partnership that lasted longer than a lot of other sponsors in the sport ever did. And unfortunately, that is coming to an end. So that's kind of what's opening these doors to some talks and negotiations for Kyle Busch moving forward. But still a lot of question marks, a lot of things still to be, figured out over the next year and a half before the 2024 season. Normally, we're talking what's going to happen 2023. We're already talking 2024 in the silly season stuff. So it will be a lot of fun to watch, and who knows? We're recording this on a Tuesday morning. By the time the show airs, we might even have more silly season stuff that we're not even thinking about to this point. But circling back to New Hampshire, how about all that confetti on the race win diecast for Christopher Bell? I mean, we love to see it, don't we?
Oh, yeah. Our artists don't, but we do.
That's all right. That's why they get paid the big bucks.
Yeah.
Confetti makes a difference. You got to have it.
Right. Well, we did that Twitter poll. I don't know if we've done a show since we did that Twitter poll, but it was overwhelmingly positive to say that folks want confetti on the
absolutely.
diecast cars.
The people who, like the tracks, because I know there are some that do and some that don't. Whoever is in charge of the confetti cannon, can you please aim it at the car, not randomly little spots?
Well, no, I think they aim it at the car, but they got to take the wind into account. It's like when Thomas and I play golf. We have to take the wind into account to see how far left or right our balls are actually going to go, because they're not going to go straight regardless. But
Well, I mean, that's true, but I mean, I had a team look at one of their race one diecast going, oh yeah, we wish they would have hit confetti more on the car, because there's little pieces on the deck lid, but that's,
you got to take the weather into account too.
Yeah.
But The Christopher Bell Ream number 20 Toyota Camry race win diecast from New Hampshire, currently available. You can get it today or order it today at lionelracing.com. Call our friendly call center agents at 1-800-952-0708 or check out other authorized Lionel Racing diecast dealers. And great weekend in New Hampshire. Certainly looking forward to Pocono. Who's going to win Pocono this weekend?
Don't come
Good call.
Come back to me.
Isn't Pocono like a strategy race?
Yeah, it's usually a
More
full
often than
mileage
not.
race, but that was with the old car. With this new car, you have no idea.
Because who ran out of gas last year? Was it Larson? And then Bowman took the win. Was that Pocono?
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when Bowman won. But
Yeah.
someone ran out of gas, but
I think it was Larson.
Oop.
I hope that happens again.
but
I
he's
want to
still
pick
in-
Blaney, but those Fords, I just don't know.
Well,
I think
Blaney
it's going to
doesn't
be.
run well at Pocono.
She
Didn't
would
his
know.
didn't his first win come at Pocono?
It
Yeah,
did,
it
but
did.
in the Wood Brothers car. But this year, I wouldn't count him in. He said
You
he's
just
really
said he doesn't
struggling.
run, but I'm like,
The past couple years, he hasn't.
All right, so here's what we do. So in our little inter-office pool, and we just have lunch on it. We don't put money on it or anything like that. It's for the end of the season.
oh, in that case, I'm picking Corey LaJoy.
Yeah. So
We're not
That's
at
what I've been
Daytona.
doing, just off the wall picks.
I picked Joey Logano last week, so now I pick first in this week's pool. So anybody who's listening that has an idea of who I should pick with my first pick,
Absolutely not.
use
No, you
hashtag
can't.
Authenticated fan and let me know who I should pick with the first pick of this week's race pool. Because
I shouldn't say anything. He's on my team.
I'm going with Busher
Yeah.
again.
that was a bold pick, but hey, it's going to pay off.
If you
one
give
of
him
these
fake
days.
pick, we'll put you in for a free diecast too.
Yeah. All right, so that's everything from New Hampshire. Going to Pocono this weekend is going to be a lot of fun. All three series, I believe, are racing at Pocono, if I remember
Yeah, don't
correctly.
forget about
so.
the Christopher Bell. People were asking about the dual autograph.
Yes.
We did not offer that in the Elite, but we still have his Daytona win from 2021. It was his first win.
Yes.
So I'd like to get that pushed out there. You guys order that. We got free shipping going online right now for the month of July.
Yep. So you got,
Free
what, 2
summer
weeks left?
22 is the promo code. Use it to get free shipping on, I think, $99 or more.
Yep.
But that car is also on sale and free shipping. So visit LionelRacing.com. Get Christopher Bell's Daytona dual autograph win Elite.
That
If you
is
forget what the
Go
code
there.
is, it's in our Twitter bio.
It's
Look at
also
there.
on our catalog
Boom.
online. So check it out.
Now here's wave 2.
And now here's Wonderwall.
right.
Had to give a shameless plug.
No, I'm glad you did. That's good stuff, and hopefully everybody's
Hashtag Lionel Racing.
taking full advantage of that free shipping offer because that doesn't happen often anymore. So we're doing it now. So hopefully everybody's taking advantage of it. And what's that now?
Nothing.
Alex was just singing and dancing, and now she won't repeat herself. So
But you were
she's
saying, like, don't get. I was like, jump on it. Like, jump on.
oh
shipping.
yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
What did we get ourselves
I
into,
don't know.
Thomas?
Obviously, there's two other women in the room.
It is way too early in the morning to be that hyped up.
It's
But
10 o'clock.
yeah, is it? Oh, it's getting lunchtime. All right, my favorite time of the day. All right, but my second favorite part of the day is fresh paint, and that's coming up next on Authenticated. It's fresh paint time, everybody. To look at, or we don't look at anything because we're an audio podcast, but to
we can look at 'em
learn
online.
about the latest diecast releases from Lionel Racing, here's Carlene.
Hello, everyone. My list is much shorter this time than usual, so you don't all have to listen to me for that long.
I love to
I
listen
know
to
my
you.
voice is like a mixture of Jesus and Fergie, but we're still here, so it's fine. Okay, so for this week, our fresh paints, we've got the majority of them are the race ones from the last couple weeks. We've got the Tyler Reddick number 8 3 Cheese Salutes, American Road America race win.
Marca.
Hashtag America. The dual autograph with Reddick and Randall Burnett did sell out, but we still have just the regular Elite ARCs available. It was Elite-ARCs. You guys know what I'm talking about.
I got a feeling Reddick and Randall are not going to be signing at the same time.
No, those are going to be in separate rooms.
There's a tortilla challenge coming.
There you go. We also have the Chase Elliott number 9 Napa Atlanta race win, which we were talking about there in the beginning of the show. The little duel with him and Corey LaJoy. That
Still
thing is covered in confetti. Alex was talking about the confetti cannons not being pointed at cars. This one, I think, was like only 2 feet away from the car and just shot directly at it. It's covered in that bright green, which looks really cool, honestly, on the Napa scheme. And you guys know how that finish went, just like absolutely hecticness.
Can I give Alex a little crap.
Oh,
Please
here we
do.
go.
Because she's talking about how much of a Corey LaJoy fan she is. And I am too. Don't get me wrong. I've known Corey for a long time.
So have I.
Flex. Okay, guys.
How long? Yeah, name drop. Can I pick that name up that I just dropped? But can I comment on so remember in Talladega Nights when Ricky Bobby's racing and he's got the giant Fig Newtons sticker on this windshield of his car?
Here we go.
So Alex goes to the Spire Motorsports shop to drop off diecast, pick up diecast, and she's like,
Carlene was there.
okay, well, she didn't come home with a 4-foot long number. It's a full-blown door sticker, like goes on the side of the race car, and Alex puts it on the back window of her car.
Corey liked it.
Well, of course he did, because if he's ever behind you, you won't see him because the sticker blocks your entire back window. I mean, it is the largest freaking sticker I've ever seen on a vehicle. But hey, if anybody's gonna ever say, I wonder if she's a Corey LaJoy fan, well, confirmed.
You'll know.
Well, Corey's got his own side. The other two have Blaney and Chastain on the other. So.
Yeah, but those two are still only about a third of the size of the
Normal
7
size.
cars.
I was going to say something, but it was going to come out wrong, so we're just going to continue.
Fair enough. All right. Sorry to go on that aside. I had to give Alex a little bit of
now if
hard
anyone
time.
sees that, they're gonna know that it's Alex's car. Like
That
that's
is
a really
true.
large number 7.
Well-
I know who that is.
Right.
Please don't come for me.
No, all in good fun. I'm sure they're just going to come for autographs.
Of course.
I'll drive away. I drive fast.
You do.
I do drive fast.
I've followed you out of the parking lot a few times, and like you leave me in the dust. I'm like,
Whip
holy
it.
crap.
I have ST in my car. I have to put it in sport mode. There we go.
Hit the nos. And going with fast drivers, the winner of the Daytona 500, Austin Cindric's number 2 Keystone Light Camo, which ran at the All-Star race, and a lot of you guys wanted that car, and at the time we couldn't offer it, but now we can. So do us all a favor and go pre-order it and put your money where your mouth is.
Ayo.
Yeah.
Much love to all y'all. All of these and more, as you guys know, are at LionelRacing.com. You can also call our call center at 1-800-952-0708 or contact any of our other authorized Lionel Racing dealers. And as you all know as well, I repeat myself a lot here. We do get them up on the Instagram story, so if you guys ever check that out, we usually have our fresh paints up there too.
Good work.
Good job.
That was fun.
Go team.
Woo!
You know what else is fun? NASCAR Authentics. I know everybody's been waiting with bated breath to figure out what this news is going to be, and we're going to have it for you in just a moment on Authenticated. Everyone loves NASCAR Authentics, including us at Lionel Racing, and we hear about you all the time on social media, how much you look forward to these. And I know Wave 2 was met very positively with the introduction of the next-gen diecast into the mass retailers such as Walmart, Target, and I know our store at Concord Mills was slap full of people trying to buy those diecast last week. And so with Wave 2 coming out, those will be in stores in just a couple of weeks. About 3 weeks from now, from when you're hearing this, that you'll start finding them in your local Walmart and Target stores. That's not the big NASCAR Authentics news that we have here, though. What we have coming to Walmart and Target stores even before you okay over there?
Yeah.
Even before Wave 2 hits stores at Walmart and Target in the next 3 weeks or so. Before that, there is a bonus wave of NASCAR Authentics 1/64th scale diecast coming to Walmart and Target stores.
Say what?
Exactly. So this is a bonus wave of NASCAR Authentics 1/64th scale diecast, all next-gen cars, all test cars. And there are cars that are the same as that you'll find in Wave 2, plus some other test cars and some other unique diecast, next-gen related, that you will find in your Walmart and Target stores even before you find the Wave 2. That said, these will be in a strictly limited number. So the amount of cases that Walmart and Target stores normally get, divide that by about 3, and that's how many cases of these test car wave will be hitting stores. So they will be extremely hard to find, but that's what's going to make it fun, trying to find these cars. Because you're going to want to, because there's some exclusive 1/64 scale diecast that you will only find in this special bonus wave of NASCAR Authentics diecast. They have special packaging that distinguish it from Wave 2. It's in a black and white next-gen test car packaging. You're definitely going to want to keep your eye out for them, and they will be in stores in the next 2 weeks. Yes, Carlene.
And if you do find them, just out of curiosity, post a picture and tell us where you found them at, because we're
That'd be
curious too, and I think it'd be really cool to see where they end up.
And make sure you tag us at Lionel Racing, because we want to see where they are. Because, again,
It's going to be Black Friday in the toy aisle.
a quick refresher, because there's every time we put out a wave release video and stuff like that, people are like, oh, it never comes to my stores. You guys suck. Okay. Did I summarize those tweets pretty well?
It's pretty essential.
Okay. So just to reiterate, we manufacture the diecast and we provide them to the retailers who send them to their distribution centers. Those retailers then use their own metrics to determine which stores that these cars go to. It is completely out of our hands which stores these cars go to. So speak to your store manager, speak to someone at the store, say, hey, we want to see more NASCAR Authentics diecast, because that's the best way to get those cars. You can complain to us, but again, we hand it off to the retailers. The retailers determine which stores they go into. That's my little aside on that.
Don't at us.
But now everybody wants to know, okay, so what are these cars that are going to be in this special bonus wave of NASCAR Authentics Next Gen Diecast? Alex, give the people what they want.
I can do that. We got the Ford Mustang unveil, the Toyota Camry unveil, and the Chevy Camaro unveil.
I'm going to stop you right there. So what those are, if you remember the Next Gen unveil, basically, that they did in Charlotte back last fall, I think, the Ford, Chevy, and Toyota, we've got those cars in this special wave. So that'll be pretty cool.
Thank you. We have Chris Buescher's number 17 Fastenal test car, the Hendrick Motorsports number 5 test car, the Daniel Suarez number 99 Trackhouse Racing test car, the Ricky Sittenhouse Jr. number 47 Kroger test car, the William Byron number 24 Exalta test car, Cole Custer's number 41 Stewart Haas Racing test car, and finally Austin Dillon's number 3 Bass Pro Shops test car.
That's good stuff, because, again, if you're looking for Wave 2, some of those cars will be in Wave 2 as well, including this one, this special bonus wave. But some exclusive cars that you're not going to find in Wave 2 will be part of this. And I'm excited to see these cars in store.
Absolutely. And to go off that, and like we said, some of them are repeats, but the packaging is different.
Correct.
So it still makes them unique in their own right.
Correct. So, Thomas, how many NASCAR Authentics cars do you have in your collection? A bunch, right?
A bunch.
Yeah.
Is your walls covered?
Completely covered with them.
I know someone who has a lot in bins in their closet.
Oh, I
just,
wonder if you know that person.
Well, she just said
I know them.
Right.
I know them, Santa.
But it's so cool to see when people post, like, they have, like, the straightest line of the Authentics, like, hanging on their bedroom and, like, garage walls.
Yeah.
That's Thomas.
Especially when I was a kid, I told you that's all that lined my walls was those Racing Champions Little 164s.
Yeah.
Who needs wallpaper?
Now I got that Jimmy Means one. That's really cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and Carlene, I think you put something on Twitter the other day, or somebody shared that they kind of like do some crazy things with cars on pegs at stores to make sure that either they get reordered or to make sure that they get the cars that they want, or they save the cars for their buddies that are coming to the store later. And we had no idea that was even a thing.
Or they moved their driver to the front, wasn't it, or something?
One person said they put the Kyle Bushes by the Barbie dolls, which I thought that was hilarious. But yeah, so many people were like, I hide them, or like I flip haulers upside down so people don't know that that's what they are, and like I come back later. Or someone said they like hide it underneath the like shelving, so when they come back when they have the money for it, they know it's still there and they go get it. Like, people, y'all are dedicated, and it is so cool to see.
Yeah, it's we hear all the time from the NASCAR Authentics collectors just how passionate they are, and we appreciate that. And every bit of feedback that we get, we read, we receive, we pass along. If that's constructive criticism, we pass it along to the necessary parties and everything like that. So we really like the interaction, and like Carlene said, tag us on Twitter or Instagram. Let us know where you find, even if it is Wave 2 or if it's this bonus wave of next-gen test cars, let us know where you're finding them, what stores, because you're also helping out your fellow collectors. Because if someone says, hey, I found them in, Wausau, Wisconsin at the Walmart, if I live near Wausau, Wisconsin, I'm going to go drive to the Walmart and try to find more cars. So,
I know a few people who go to every Walmart and Target around, depending on what state they're visiting, just to
I also know those people.
Right. Well, I mean,
We both know those people.
every once in a while when I need to go to Walmart for something, I will veer into the toy aisle just to see what's on the shelf. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like
Yeah, I do
just
that too.
just to see, oh wow, we're current, or maybe we're a wave behind at my local store or something like that. And again, if anybody believes that, we have a say in and dictate which stores get these cars, the store here in Concord hasn't had cars in a couple of weeks now. So I mean, if anybody was going to get cars, it would have been the one that's a mile and a half from our warehouse. So that just kind of shows you where the amount, the role that we have in which stores they go into. Thomas, let me ask you this on the 164 scale, because you deal a lot between our Lionel Racing RCCA forum. Your collectors are mostly 124 scale collectors.
Correct.
The ones that you speak to, are they collectors of the 64 scale as well? Is there a lot of correlation between the two, or do you think that there's your higher end collectors that spend $100 ish on their diecast, that they look down on the 64s? I mean, or do you think that they collect both?
It seems both.
Yeah.
It seems mixed. I mean, you got your guys who are just hardcore 124 scale. That's it. And that probably is more prevalent, but there are definitely the ones who have kids who want to get them started by the 64s, or they're just completionists.
Right.
So they'll buy the 24 race win and the 164th. I mean, I got one guy I know, he buys every race win diecast, and he buys 24 scale and 64 scale. Especially now, this year, we're finally offering all the 64s. But he's a Chase fan for one, so he'd always buy the 164 since we used to offer most of his last year. So, but he had to have the race win elite and the race win 64s, and he puts every one of them in his. So I guess it just depends on who you are. I feel like it's probably about split.
Yeah. And it's fun because we're going to have to come up with a better solution with these microphones. I'm politicking hard to actually get a real studio in this room instead of just using a conference room, but we'll cross that path down the road. I will say, so my kids both are on a swim team this summer, and, my son's made friends. He's 10. He's made friends with other little boys that, I didn't know prior to the swim team. They don't live in our neighborhood or anything like that. They're just kids that my son's grown, to know. And they'll come up to me and be like, hey, can you get me NASCAR Authentics cars? And I'm like, kid, I don't even know you. Like, first of all, no. But and second of all, I don't even know you. That's what they right. But they think it's so cool that we're involved in NASCAR Authentics. And that's what I think, that's when it kind of hit home to me, because we see people all the time. Our NASCAR Authentics collectors are anywhere from kids to the teenagers to 20s to, we've got far older than 20s. We've got 50 and 60-year-old people tweeting us about, what they're finding, what they like, what they don't, and all that stuff. But when you get just random kids coming up being like, oh, you make those cars? Where can I get them? Can I get one? Can you give them to me? I'm like, I know, but thanks for being a fan.
For the support.
Right? Yeah. I was like, tell your mom and dad to go get them. Like, I can't just give them to you. Like, I can't even give them to my own kid. Every car that my kid has, I've gone to Walmart or Target and I spent $6 on it. You know what I mean? I don't even get them for free or anything like that. So, but it's really cool to see the feedback that we do get, and I know everybody wonders if we do read the comments and stuff like that, and I assure you that we do. And constructive criticism is met well. Just random rants for no reason are not met very well, but so be it.
Look at me.
Yeah, no, I'm speaking solely for myself. But we appreciate the passion of the NASCAR Authentics fans. Hopefully everybody was excited about Wave 2 last week, and they're going to be equally excited to try to find this next-gen test car wave. Again, extremely limited quantities. There is no chase piece in this wave, so just like Wave 2 of the core line NASCAR Authentics, there is no chase piece. There's no liquid color. They're all the standard schemes. So hopefully everybody is going to enjoy the hunt for these cars, because they're going to be harder to find than a regular NASCAR Authentics wave, but that's going to just add to the collectability and to add to the fun of the hunt to try to find these. And again, tweet us, Instagram us, whatever it might be. Let us know where you're finding the NASCAR Authentics cars to help your fellow collectors, because we want to show them off as well. So that's the big news, NASCAR Authentics. And I know everybody's thinking, oh, when's Wave 3? Because about a nanosecond after posting Wave 2, that's what people were asking for.
Oh, yeah.
People are crazy.
Even before we released Wave 2, because it was taking quite a bit of time, people were like, okay, but where's Wave 3 now? Like, before we even put 2 out.
Right. And
y'all need to calm down.
yeah, well, I mean, there was a big... There was a big gap, admittedly, between Wave 1 and Wave 2. So hopefully there won't be quite that same gap. And I assure you, we don't withhold that information from you for any reason. These were not sitting on our desks for 2 months.
Oh, we evil laughed.
Right.
Like,
and like,
we're going to make them wait.
Yeah, no, I mean... I think I got them on my desk to take pictures and video photos for the video, all that stuff. So it gets brought to our warehouse. As soon as it gets brought into our warehouse, it comes right up to my desk. I immediately take pictures of it and do all that stuff. And then we release it within a day of when it comes onto my desk. So that tells you how quick we try to turn these around for you folks. So when we see it, you see it. So as soon as we see Wave 3, you will see Wave 3, and hopefully it'll be really, really soon.
So is this Wave 2.5, or like what are we calling this?
So technically on the packaging, it says 2022 Wave 1. Because technically Wave 1 was a race win wave. So this... I guess
Wave 1.
Chronologically, this is technically Wave 1 because it's 2022 cars Wave 1, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So the packaging, again, it's different than it's the same shape, I guess you can say, of the NASCAR Authentics core line like Wave 2 will be, but the artwork is different. The graphics are a little bit different. So that's how you will distinguish. And it says test car, next gen test car, big and bold on the front of it. So that's how you will distinguish those from the core line Wave 2. So good luck finding these, because they're going to be definitely ones you want to add to your collection. And we're going to wrap things up in just a minute. And if you remember, NASCAR Authentics fans, last show, we had a little giveaway to guess the cars in Wave 2. We're going to find out who the winner of some free diecast is going to be just up next on Authenticated. We're going to finish things up this week, circling back to the last show where we asked you to guess which cars were going to be in Wave 2 of NASCAR Authentics. Nobody got them all right, which is not surprising because that was going to be really hard to do. But Carlene, we were able to pick somebody to get a free diecast, right? I
did. First of all, I want to apologize to everyone who guessed because Matt threw y'all for a loop and said there would be a chase piece. So we're just going to come out and say it.
I will. My bad, sort of.
There you go.
But at the same time, nobody got it even close, even if they had
not
guessed.
Even close.
Even if that was the one thing they got wrong, they wouldn't have gotten it. So don't feel
Correct.
like, I was one car away because Matt was an idiot. No, I was an idiot, but that's not why you got it wrong.
Yeah, when I went, we went looking through all of them. We took the chase guess away. So this was just purely on your 9 cars that you guessed, and almost everybody threw a Toyota in there. So that also messed with a lot of people.
Oh, people are sorry. I don't mean
you're good.
I'm interrupting everybody today. That's interrupting Camus. I know a lot of folks were saying, hey, how come there's not a Toyota next gen car in there? It's because Toyotas were slower, I guess we can say, to get paint schemes in than other manufacturers were. So that's why we had art earlier for some of the Chevy and Ford teams before that we had this. I'm talking winter time, before we had Toyota paint schemes. So that's why Ford and Chevrolet cars made it into the earlier waves of NASCAR Authentics because we had those paint schemes earlier than we had the Toyotas. Simple as that. It's not like we were hating on Toyotas or anything. You will see Toyotas coming up soon, just not in this wave.
Yes, because fun fact, if y'all remember, the Gear Wrench Harvick car was the very first actual paint scheme that we put out for the next gen. That's because it's the first one that we got. So anyway, our wave guess winner, his name is Nope, EMC2, and Nope is spelled N-U-P-E, so it's like Nope. And his name on Twitter is Oldest Dude at the Tame Impala Show, which I find amazing.
Please explain to me again who this is.
Yeah, so Tame Impala is like, I don't know if you want to call them an indie style band, and they're not new by any means, but their music is very like vibey, for lack of a better word.
Coffee shop.
Not even coffee shop. It's like
folk.
Kind of. I'll have to play it for you, but they're not super well known, and his music is very like, it's like a, I don't know, like a head, whatever. Anyway, it's very good, and your name was super original.
Are you trying to say you have to be some kind of inebriated to enjoy it?
No, because I don't do anything like that. But
no, I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying in general.
Almost like a very chill.
It's like trancey.
I got it.
There we go.
Got it.
So
Okay.
it's like going to see Doctor Strange, pretty much.
Kind of, yeah. So their music isn't super, super well known, but they have a couple that like make it at, you'll hear in the background at some like schnazzy restaurant or something.
Elevator
but,
music. That's what it sounds like
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I thought your name was super funny. That's not why you were picked, but because it's all done at random. But when your name did pop up, I was like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. So just shout out to you. But you did win, so congratulations.
Shoot us a DM. What was the name again? Just remind us again. At
Nope EMC2.
All right, so shoot us a direct message. We're going to follow you to make sure that you are able to direct message us and let us know your address. We'll get you a diecast out your way here in the next few days. So congratulations. Thanks for everybody for participating. We'll do more contests like this moving forward for some NASCAR Authentics plus some other diecasts that we have a bunch to give away. We've got a whole box of diecasts that just arrived in our office, stuff that we are able to give away. So we want to get that out to you, the fans of NASCAR Diecast, because that's who you are and that's who we care about.
Believe it or not.
Hashtag for the fans.
Right, absolutely. Before we go, we got to talk about our last lap highlight of the week, whatever we thought our biggest news in Diecast or in NASCAR in general over the past week. I'm going to start first with Alex.
Yay.
Lucky you.
Yay. I'm going to piggyback on my soapbox rant earlier. I am just on board with Ross Chastain's devil may care attitude and him going out there and just being like, YOLO. And his consistency. I mean, he's
Do
got
the kids still say YOLO?
I'm older than most kids,
Well,
so it's fine.
You're a kid
I
to me,
consider myself
That's
a
what I
child.
said. She did back when she was that age.
right?
Yeah, back in the day. With his top 10 top 5 finishes and 14 top 10 finishes. And on top of that, because I'm in the production side, I did receive his first win at COTA. And that proto looks very nice. If you haven't seen it, check out our TikTok.
It's also on Instagram.
And
it's a
Instagram.
brief showing, so we're going to do a more in-detailed video on our TikTok, so keep an eye out for that.
Yes.
Thomas, you on TikTok? Yeah, you are.
You better say you follow us.
YOLO.
I don't know. I'm on TikTok, but I don't really use it or go on there.
Did you do the dance? Is that why you started it? You do all the TikTok dances?
Nope. Nope.
I have a TikTok account, but it is not under my name. I do not share my contacts. Nobody knows that it's me, and that's my favorite part.
I'm gonna find it. I will find his TikTok this week, and I will share it on Twitter for all to see.
Hey,
It will be retweeted.
I found the photos when he talked about he was in a band one time, so there is no stopping me.
Phantom Rapture, baby.
So yes, I think I do, but I don't ever log into TikTok.
But if you did, you would watch Lionel racing videos all day long.
They have been called
I
cringy,
actually
so
watch live
worthwhile.
Lionel Racing TikTok videos
All I'm saying
That's
is
in
true.
person every day. Like this here, where I'm sitting in front of watching,
Speaking of which,
especially the dun 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 dun.
We should
that
just
was
film
literally
while we're
a
in here.
TikTok
Jump
moment
on
where
it.
I'm just looking at them like in confusion.
I got to give.
I'm the oldest guy in this room, so I'm like, what? What's
Yeah.
happening?
Trust
I mean,
me,
that's
I am.
fair.
I got to give credit to the ladies in this room for their great TikToks over the last week, and
High five.
how convenient that we get artificial turf delivered to our office. And I won't explain why. We just have artificial turf
don't
through a
even know.
large part of our building right now. And how convenient that we get that installed in our building just as we get the Forever Lawn car. So it makes great content
It
to
was
have
perfect.
a turf covered car on artificial turf.
And it was like just all in all, just a
I must have
very
missed that one.
great put together
Yes.
I
video.
mean, for
It
some
was-
reason, it was like, let's just go set
Okay,
this
I
car
guess
on
I'll
the
go
turf.
watch that one. Then.
Right.
There you go.
Now, see,
on
what we need
Twitter.
to do, I mean, it's great that we have turf in our building now. What if we're going to bring in diecast or like products that are diecast related? Like, where's our free beer? Like, why are we not getting like Busch lattes in here? You know what I mean? If we get artificial
Busch
turf to
apple.
match a race car, why don't we
Lychee.
get? Oh,
Just kidding. I don't do that.
all right, good times. Yeah, let's go right over to Carlene before we get too deep into
Alex
this.
took that too far.
Yes.
My last lap highlight is honestly everyone who posts diecast photos and tags us. Like, there's a lot of accounts on Instagram especially that take like professional photos of the cars that they get, all the different details that are on it. Someone just got, was it the Kyle Busch Pocono win that just went out? And posted a picture of the diecast that had like the little M&M bags on the hood, and like mini M&Ms were scattered on the top of the car, and like they really showed all of it off, and it's so cool, and I love seeing those and getting them shared to our Instagram story. So a couple of shout outs for the people who tag us in the vast majority of those pictures. Definitely go give them a follow. Would be like Dawson Diecast Photography, Range Motorsport 71, Driven by Diecast, and Cody's Diecast 31. They all post really creative, really cool looking pictures. So go check them out.
Good stuff. Always great to see good content coming from our fans and collectors, because we love to see it. So keep that up. Thomas, how about you? What was your last lap highlight of the past week?
Well, I've kind of decided I'm going to give another shameless plug because that's what I like to do.
Good.
Oh, perfect.
And because I'm old and I don't really do TikTok and I do the forum. Since Christopher Bell won, and we talked about that, and I was actually shocked. We talked a little bit about being shocked at the amount of people who picked him, and us knuckleheads who are here and working it every day. None
Working
of us
it.
working it.
Is it
Never-
worth it? Let me work it.
We never another pun, another thing that I'm like.
Another one.
Anyway, I get that one, but okay. So.
Because we were about their age when Missy Elliott came out with that song.
Right? Yeah, right. Yeah, you need to throw them off probably by singing like waterfalls or something. They're gonna be like, what?
I know
Right.
waterfalls.
Yeah.
Chasing waterfalls.
I think we just
took
we owe somebody some money now.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We do not own the rights to this music. We're gonna say that first before you post it. Is that like a social media thing?
Like,
Yeah.
I'm not responsible for the.
Yeah. So anyway,
copyright.
let's back on track here.
Back to
literally. So yeah, because we do that. I mean, everybody picked it. I think it's funny that we all missed that one, and the way he, his stats show that someone should have maybe considered him. But anyway, just kind of for the forum, hey, be sure if you're listening to join Lionel Racing Forum. We have some good updates on there about when diecasts are coming in. And we also do a weekly contest on there where we give away a Lionel Racing gift card for whoever picks the winner. We randomly select one of the people who pick the winner each week. So it's one lucky person won a Lionel Racing gift card for picking Christopher Bell. So not only were we all winners for Christopher Bell winning, but one lucky person won a $50 gift card.
They were
Ringing
extra
their
So,
bells.
LionelRacing.com, go to the forum, join. You got to be an RCCA member, though, to be on the
Right.
forum. Good. But there's my highlight.
Good stuff. My last lap highlight going back to the New Hampshire weekend. How about, I'm going to read you some names. If you believe that they were in the top 10 in the NASCAR Xfinity Series race, you tell me if you believe it or not. Brandon Brown, Jeremy Clements, Kyle Weatherman, Mason Massey, and Bailey Curry, all top 10 finishers in the Xfinity Series race. These are not guys that typically finish top 10 in the Xfinity Series. Great to see it. And you go even a little bit further back, David Starr was 11th, Joe Graff Jr. 12th, CJ McLaughlin 13th.
Was it Pitts strategy off?
I didn't watch a single
not to be
lap of the
ugly,
race.
There was a lot of
wrecks.
Right.
Oh, was it?
A
Ryan
lot.
Sieg went whoop,
Yeah.
nose first.
So,
But also Brandon Brown has a win under his belt, so give him some credit.
but not. He's not. When you look at the top
Consistently
10,
up
you
there.
don't see those names.
Yeah.
But it's good
Brown
to
and
see.
Clements, you can see them from time to time up there, but certainly the rest of them.
See,
no.
It was
Graff
cool to see
Jr.
Weatherman up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have to give my weekly short track racing update.
we go.
Hey, if I got to hear about AJ Allmendinger all day, I can do
I
that.
didn't
She
mention
didn't talk
it
about
this
AJ.
time.
She talked about Chase.
But at New Hampshire
Ross.
New Hampshire Motor Speedway, which is the greatest race to watch a modified race, Thomas, I showed you your first modified race.
First modified race.
You enjoyed that
3 years ago.
A couple of
Right.
years ago,
It was
yeah.
awesome. Watching from one eye, but
Right, yeah. But Anthony Nocella took the win in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour race at New Hampshire Motor Speedway in a great finish. The two leaders crashed coming to the checkers, and Nocella was third and passed them both at the checkered flag. So it was a really cool finish.
And
Sounds
did
like
Corey
Clash.
LaJoy finish in the top
He
10 in
did.
that race?
I don't know where he finished, but I know he ran that race.
Like 8th or
A
something.
brand new team to the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour team. That was their first run, and they wanted to have a big driver in the
I knew one
in
thing
the
about
seat.
modifieds this week.
Yep, good for you. There will be a test.
I just knew that.
Please
'cause
don't.
He posted about it.
All right, so that wraps up the show here today. We really appreciate everybody tuning in. Hope everybody enjoyed the show, and we will be back in the next couple of weeks with more content. Definitely follow us on Lionel Racing, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and TikTok as well. And make sure you use on Twitter, use hashtag AuthentiCatedFan to interact with us on the show. If there's anything you want to hear, anything questions that might have popped up in your mind as you listen to today's show, use hashtag AuthentiCatedFan, and we will read them and get back to you on the next episode. For Carlene, Thomas, and Alex, I am Matt. We appreciate everybody, and we will see you down the road next time on Authenticated. Follow Lionel Racing on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, and use hashtag AuthentiCatedFan.